boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I tell you, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. What's happening, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Friday night to y'all. Blessings to you all. Hope you guys are in the best of health. You and your family members. We are always blessed and highly favored to be able to wake up and just carry on and have another day on earth. But man, these Mets. Woo-wee. Terrible. And I apologize for the graphic, guys. I had done this prior to tonight's game. So the Mets at that time had lost 13 out of 15. And of course, after tonight's game, they have lost 14 out of 16. Great job, Metsies. Great job. I don't know what's going on, y'all. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy. It's crazy. You can't make this stuff up. It's unbelievable to me. I mean, I believe it. I'm a Met fan. So if any team has done stuff like this, it's definitely the Mets. The Mets are notorious for doing stuff like this. So this should be no shocker. But I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? Unfortunately, this has to be one of the worst spirals that you can think of, because every time they get a little glimpse of something good, something bad happens. So even when they're trying to rally around themselves and dig themselves out of it, something else, the other shoe drops. It's crazy. And unfortunately, that's deflating. That's what turns a team from a good team to a team that has an incredibly bad season, right? Because all it takes is a couple wins to put a streak together. But when you got stuff like this happening where the hitting has come to play and then the pitching falls apart, every time you get another good outcome from the hitters, the pitching falls apart. And then when the pitching is doing well, the hitters don't come to play, so they can't put up the runs to take a lead. Like, this is nuts. I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is this is terrible. This is terrible. Terrible. Anyway. So there's a lot going on. Okay. Welcome to State of the Game. Tonight's show is a brief show, a little quick show. I really want to be able to chop it up and talk about the three levels of my sports fandom, Knicks, Mets, and Giants. But I feel like there's so much going on with the Mets that they need their own show. I haven't had a chance to really talk as much as I would like to about, all the teams together, but I need to talk about the Mets by themselves. So I apologize if anybody's here looking for some Knicks stuff. I'm talking about the Mets tonight. I also apologize if you're looking for the Giants. I'm talking about the Mets because the Mets got some issues. As we go forward, we'll definitely intertwine all the teams and talk about everybody. But tonight is about the Mets. If you want to, hear some Knick talk, tune in to, Know the Ledge tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Well, I'll be back on my Know the Ledge. And, we'll get it cracking. But yeah, I mean, what is the deal with these losses? I don't know. Once again, the Mets have lost 14 out of 16. Tonight they lost to the Seattle Mariners 11-9. You just can't make this stuff up. Like, every time they do something that, is positive, you're like, is tonight the night? Is tonight the night they get out of it? Something else happens. Like, you can't win for trying. I apologize to you Yankee fans out there because y'all going through it too. I mean, it's different what y'all going through, but y'all going through it. I don't know. I feel like for the Yankees, it's time to get rid of the manager. I mean, Aaron Boone has been a big part of the Yankee organization for all the heroics he did as a player. He's been pretty solid as a manager for a few years. But it's time. I think for the Yankees, it's time. For the Mets, I don't know. We're going to talk about Mendoza a little later, but man, it's a tough time. It's a tough time. And the worst part about it is the best pitchers on the team are Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea. And Senga pitched pretty well yesterday. And then, you think Manaea is going to come in and be a little bit of a stabilizer, and not quite. Like this is what makes things very interesting, that the Mets went out, and hitting wise, do they have enough hitting? I think they do. They had an issue with center field, with everybody being hurt that they were initially depending on. And so they went out and got, Mullins, who is not, was not tearing the cover off the ball to begin with. He wasn't hitting that well in Baltimore. But the one thing about him is he's a fast player. He plays a good center field, very smart, very heady, makes good decisions, is one of the best base runners in baseball. And, maybe putting him around a team that had, championship aspirations might have helped him kind of get back to hitting again. But when you come to a team that's going through what the Mets are going through, it almost makes you worse. I was like, what can you build on here when this team is playing this bad? It's tough. David Stearns has made a lot of moves since taking over for the Mets. And, when you look at all the moves he's done, you start to question whether or not he's made good moves or bad moves for the most part. Like, because you can point at a lot of moves that he's made, and you don't necessarily know if the Mets came out on the winning side of these moves, which is terrible. I mean, that's the tough part. That's one of those that, I don't know if I've seen this in a while, where a team is on paper so good and spends so much money and has so much talent, yet the moves they've made haven't quite been the best. So I don't know. I mean, the Yankees are always known for making big, high price moves, but a lot of their moves usually are good. Maybe not everything works out, but they make some good moves. So watching the Mets and the moves they've made, and the worst part about it is it's not necessarily hitting moves that have been bad. It's the pitching moves, and you got to have good pitching to win in this game. And we've had a lot of pitching hiccups. So I don't know, man. I don't know. That this is questionable. It's a questionable time right now. And as a Met fan, it's really like frustrating. I was even thinking about going to a game this weekend. I was thinking about going to the game tomorrow. Actually, it's Juan Soto bobblehead day, and I wanted to, make my first trip to Citi Field in maybe 3 years. I think. My son has never been to a Met game, so I was thinking maybe now's the time. But nope. Obviously, I was thinking this like 2-3 weeks ago. Now I don't even know if I want to waste my time. So I don't. This is it's terrible. Terrible. Shout out to those in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Andios in the building. Rasul Thomas, Darlene Bryant. Let's go. Kerry Cox is here. Fritz Alcindor. What's going on, Fritz? Manny's in the building. I think I already said that. Kareem Grant is in the building. What up, twin? Mike Morgan is here. Nicopolis is in the building. Let me see. Yeah, I think I got everybody. Salute everybody, man. And those who may be watching that ain't in the chat like that. But yeah, it's been terrible. Manny was saying, unfortunately, Steve Cohen doesn't care about this team. It's like Fred Wilpon with the money. I mean, I don't know, man. I honestly think Cohen wants them to succeed. And the thing about Cohen is he's been a part of the Mets for years. He was a part of the Mets when the Wilpons were in power. He was just a minority owner, and he didn't have a lot to say at all. So I think he wants this team to be successful. He wants them to do well. And when you think about it, he brought in David Stearns. Milwaukee, there's maybe 4 teams. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. There's 4 teams in baseball that I feel have always, for the most part, been successful for numerous years, right? Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. And I'm not talking about back in the day. I'm talking about like in the last, 10 years or whatever. These teams have been very consistent and had solid baseball teams. They've always been somewhere. You know what I mean? They might not be championship teams, but they've been in the playoff contention. They've always been a wild card. Like, they've always been there. And they've always had good players and solid baseball attached to them. So to go out and bring in David Stern didn't seem like a bad idea. Milwaukee's one of those teams. So I was like, But I also do think about the fact that is this based on David Stern's blueprint, right? Because Milwaukee is the best team in baseball right now. Did he do enough to build them up that they're that good and whoever's in place just took over? Or are there other people in the organization that are really ahead of the curve and are the people who are running the ship over there? And David Stern is not quite what we thought he was. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying that's the case. We don't know. But I do know that a lot of the decisions he's made, there's always, as far as transactions, bringing in pitching, there's always been something negative attached to it. Bringing in Frankie Montas, and especially paying him $30+ million, that's a tough decision because Frankie Montas has been struggling before he got here. Now he's here and he's struggling. Right? I don't have a problem bringing back Sean Manaea. I think Sean Manaea was great last year. This year, it is what it is. There's some voodoo curse on the Mets. But you want to look at the bullpen, those type of deals, what's going on there. I don't know. Gregory Soto, ever since he's been here, he's been getting hit. I mean, he throws 99, 100. He's got a good pitch repertoire. Still getting raked. You bring in Helsley from St. Louis as another, like a second closer. And, the knock on him, which is what I heard before we traded for him, mind you, he throws 3 pitches, right? He's got a slider, he's got a fastball, and he's got a curve. 3 pitches. His best pitch technically is his fastball because of the speed. He gets up to 101, 102 maybe. It's also his most hittable pitch. Apparently the MLB is raking his fastball. So, but his slider has been almost unhittable. He's been doing great with the slider. So that's tough, right? Because those are the 2 pitches he throws most of the time. Like he throws each of those pitches 40 to 45% of the time each. You know what I mean? So there was always a question mark bringing him in, right? None of this is like clear cut. Edwin Diaz has been Edwin Diaz. I don't want to get on him. You know, he's been pretty solid. Sometimes he's shaky, but that's just Diaz. That's just who he's been ever since he got hurt and you know, in that freak accident in the World Baseball Classic celebrating. Even though that wasn't his pitching arm, for whatever reason, he just hasn't been as dominant as he used to be. It is what it is. So you got that going on. And then other guys coming out the bullpen have just been getting tattooed. You know, Stanek is lucky he still has a job. And oddly enough, Stanek was the best out of the bullpen tonight. Everybody else got hit. Everybody else gave up an earned run. Manea gave up 4. Rogers came in. Rogers, who we gave up a good haul for, Ryan Clifford and other people. You know what we did. And I think he has a really impressive arm angle. He's not easy to hit, but for whatever reason, when he's with the Mets, he's getting hit. Brooks Raley, he gave up 3 earned. And obviously Montas came in for an inning of relief and he gave up 1 earned. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. This is terrible. It's terrible. Anyway, moving on. I don't know how we got here, y'all. I really wish I had the answer. I really don't. Once again, the Mets have lost 14 out of 16, not 13 out of 15. That's a correction because they lost tonight. 14 out of 16 games. Pitching and hitting has been horrible. Now, the last 2 games in particular, the pitching and not the pitching, the hitting has woken up. The hitting seems to be, we're coming to play, folks. The bats are starting to get alive. So I don't want to get on the hitting too much, but I am going to talk about the hitting over this stretch. But the hitting last 2 games has come alive. Shout out to the hitters. They want to get out of this. But the pitching, it's kind of still, even though Singer wasn't that bad, we're still in a funk, yo. Some people say that we need to get rid of the pitching coach is straight. Some people say we need to get rid of the hitting coach. I don't know. Eric Chavez has been with us for a little while, and we hit in the past. We hit last year. I always find it weird when it comes to like batting and pitching coaches. Like if the team could pitch at or hit at a high level under the coach, does all of a sudden when they're struggling to hit, does that mean that the coach forgot how to tell them how to hit, or has he told them stuff that they weren't doing before? That's not, like, you know what I mean? When it comes to that stuff, these guys always get scapegoated. I'm not saying Eric Chavez is the best, because personally, I feel like the Mets should have a throwback type of pitching hitting coach, a hitting coach that, you know, hits for average, that knows how to get guys on base. But everything has been so power centric these days that that's really all you know, these guys worry about. I think the Mets should have, I mean, you know, it wouldn't be bad to have a couple players that could hit for average either, but I think they should have a hitting coach that teaches guys how to hit for average. Yes, home runs are great. Yes, home runs are fantastic. They bring the fans in the seats. They you know, they got all this stuff surrounding home runs. You know, the apple goes up. There's fireworks in the stadium. But when you want to win baseball games consistently, you got to get on base. You got to get timely hits with runners in scoring position, like hits with the bases loaded, stuff like that. We are struggling. All we care about is hitting home runs. So, and if Eric Chavez, if that's all he can teach these guys, then maybe he's not the answer. Darlene says the Mets can't finish games. That's a fact. And the crazy thing is, at the trade deadline, when we made all these moves, people were talking Mets might have the best bullpen in baseball, if not the best, top 3. Does it look like top 3 right now to you guys? It doesn't to me. Shout out to Rod 1214. He said you should make a dedicated Mets channel if you have the time. That's the problem, Rod. I don't feel like I have the time to commit to it. If I want it to be like this is just me scratching an itch, talking about the teams that I love and being able to have a little conversation about them. I wouldn't mind, obviously, going on a dedicated Mets channel from time to time and just speaking about the Mets. I love watching Wardy, and there's other channels that I like watching. I wouldn't mind talking it up with them. But as far as me doing it, I just can't see myself dedicating the time to do it, still having my Knicks channel work, having my Keeping It Ron channel that I need to get back to more. I just want to, if I was to dedicate myself to doing that, I need more time to put in because I want it to be good. And I wouldn't want to shortchange people that tune in, right? So that's why I haven't done it. And, same reason I haven't done a dedicated New York Giant channel either. I just, if I want to do it, I want to do it right. And I don't want to shortchange anybody who tunes in, so I can only do this for now and be able to talk a little Met stuff, a little Giant stuff, in addition to all the Knicks stuff we talk about. But I appreciate you being here and rocking with me. And believe me, the more I can do it, the goal is to start talking a little bit more, having more state of the game shows. And in each state of the game show, I'll talk a little bit about the Knicks, a little bit about the Mets, a little bit about the Giants. So it'll be more frequent. I just haven't, we haven't really got there yet. Stryker says, Ron, you need me for this discussion. I hear you, brother. Hey, what's going on? My familia in the building. Shout out to Jorge Castro, my paisan over there. Not that he's Italian, but he's my guy. He said it's the pitching. Yeah, it definitely seems like it's the pitching, brother. And shout out to you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, bro. I appreciate the love, bro. Thanks a lot, man. So back to what's going on. Same here, bro. Back to what's going on. It definitely does seem like the pitching. The pitching has been terrible. The hitting was bad, but the pitching has been terrible as well. And like I said before, you can get by without having the best hitting. You can still win games if your pitching is solid, but when your pitching is not good, you're in trouble. And that's where the Mets are at right now. And I didn't expect this. I expected the bullpen to be all right. And I think that's what David Stern and the Mets organization was thinking. They know they got holes in their starting pitching, but they were like, if we could just get 5 to 6 innings, get to the bullpen, we can lock it down. And this has been far from lockdown. This is not, and I don't want to say, sell this. This is terrible. Nobody's expecting this bullpen to be this bad. Do I think they're going to figure it out? Yes. But by the time they figure it out, would it be too late? Because that's the thing. Like, what are we doing here? We playing ourselves out of everything. There's only so long you can keep doing this and think you got a shot to be around. I mean, right now we hanging on to a wild card. Excuse me. We got to get right, y'all. We got to get right because it's not looking good. Let me see here. Here's a stat. I want to put up a stat because even though, the hitting has been much better the last 2 games, I don't want to forget about what's been going on the last 10 games, because the last 10 games has not been quote unquote what we would like to see. Let me see. Where's my hitters at? Hold on. Here we go. This info is per StatMuse. StatMuse is a great site. New York Mets have a batting average of .241 in their last 10 games. And a lot of that has to do with the top 4, right? We've had successes, like little mini successes in games. Like Pete Alonso has got the home run record for the Mets, right? Juan Soto hit his 30th home run tonight. I don't want to get on Lindor. But Lindor has been struggling, but he's hot now. I think he's snapped out of it. So I want to give him credit for snapping out of it. I think Lindor is good, but up until this point, he was struggling, right? We know how bad he was struggling, but he looks like he's back. Brandon Nimmo has been struggling, and I've talked about this. Brandon Nimmo, I don't understand what has been going on with him, because not only he's been struggling with the bat, he's been getting called looking multiple times. This guy has been Carlos Beltraning it up there, yo. He's just been standing there with the bat in his hands on his shoulder. Like, what are we doing? I don't know what's happened with Nimmo. He seems really indecisive and not confident in his what's the word I'm looking for? Pitch recognition. That's what I'm looking for. He doesn't seem confident in his pitch recognition. He's swinging at some bad balls. For example, if you even think about tonight, he actually, once again, I'm talking about this stuff, and Brandon Nimmo looked okay tonight. But for the most part, these last 10 games to 15 games, he has not looked good. And he's been struggling, getting called on strike threes. Also, he's been swinging at really bad balls. And tonight is just one example. It's just one little thing, but this is a microcosm of what's been going on with him. Francisco Lindor goes up to the plate, hits a home run, goes to celebrate. The next pitch, Juan Soto goes up with a pitch down the pipe and smacks it for a home run. They go back to back. Nimmo comes right after Soto, and the first pitch he gets, he takes a home run swing at it, but his pitch was inside. You know what I mean? So the difference is Lindor worked a 3-2 count, got a fat pitch down the pipe, took it deep. Juan Soto gets a fat pitch down the pipe, first pitch he sees, and hits it deep. Nimmo swings at an inside pitch and tries to yank that out. So, like, this is the type of stuff, like, they've been going through. And Nimmo, to me, like, has been, like, when I look at the Mets, obviously there's more talented people on the team than Nimmo. Pete Alonso might be more talented than him. Lindor and Soto are more talented than him. But I look at Nimmo like he is the stabilizing guy. He's the X factor on the team. Like, I can always count on Nimmo. At least that's how I felt up until this year. I felt like I know what Nimmo's going to do. But, man, is he struggling. And I think that has a lot to do why the Mets are struggling. Not just him, but he's a big part of it, because he's been stabilizing them for so long. He's always been, like, he's been the hustle guy. He's been the OBP guy. Like, and he's been timely. He used to get timely hits for the Mets. But once again, we're back. Shout out to Clyde the South. He said, "I'm just surprised I'm not an alcoholic as a Mets fan." I'm glad you're not, bro, because you be hitting the bottle hard tonight. This is my guy Jorge says, this is the result of not spending for an ace, and I think you are 100% correct. This is where you run into this problem. They should have definitely brought in another starter. And even even off-season wise, but forget that. Even at the trade deadline, they definitely should have brought in another starter. 100%. 100%. Jorge also says, you have no stopper, an overworked bullpen, closer is shaky. The lack of getting an ace is what's hurting. This is the result of not getting an ace. I agree 100%. I think, and the other thing too is, for whatever reason, this year the Mets, I understand, because if you're not pitching well, then obviously you're not going to make it through many innings. They're not going past 5 innings. They're lucky if they get to 6 innings. And that's taxing on the bullpen too. Like, there's no laughers here, guys. We're not getting a lot of laughers. There's not a lot of, this guy's going 7-8, even a complete game. I don't even think, can the Mets sniff a complete game? What is that? Like, we're in a bad spot. So that's what's going on with the pitching. We have one of the best pitching coaches in the league. I don't think it's him. I think there's some bad juju going on right now, and the Mets need to calm down. And I think they're pressing as well, because they realize that they started off so hot, and they still, have been like, what are they still like 10 games over 500? Like with all this struggling they've been doing. And I think they're pressing because they realize that, you know, it's slipping away. It's terrible. It's terrible. That's all I can say. It's terrible. So, yeah, that brings us to, well, before I go there, let me talk about this too. Let me bring this up as well. So that's the hitting. Look at what is this, y'all? What is this? Info once again per StatMuse. Pitchers have an ERA of 7.59 in the last 10 games for the Mets. What? What is this? Like, what the hell is going on right now? In 10 games, a 7.59 ERA, almost an 8 ERA in 10 games? Wow. The last 10 games, not including tonight, but tonight wouldn't help. Tonight keeps this ERA right where it's at. If not, it might have gotten higher. This is terrible. Wow. I mean, what can you say? You know what I mean? Like what is happening that the starting pitchers and obviously the bullpen is included in that too, but it's a lot of starting pitching as well. Why are they struggling so badly? Like, what is happening here? I really I don't know. I wish for the life of me I knew what was happening, but I cannot figure this out. Is it like, what's the constant here? The catcher? Is Alvarez not calling a good game? I don't think that's the case, because all we've been hearing is that Alvarez, when he went down to the minor leagues to work on his swing, where he was tearing the cover off the ball, by the way, all the pitchers that he was catching were having success. Like, he actually was making them look better. So it can't be Alvarez, can it? No, right? Unless the starting pitchers and these guys are calling their own shots, like shaking him off. No. That's not it. I'm not jacking that one. Nope, that's not it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. I don't know how we've got to this point where these guys have struggled this much and don't know how to get out of innings. And when they get into situations where they need pitches that will get them out of innings, they are throwing pitches in bad spots. Location, is also determined by the catcher. But if you're not hitting your spots when you're pitching, that's on you, right? So there's a lot going on, man. There is a lot going on, and it's right now. It's all bad. It's all bad. Don't have any answers for this. I just hope that I need the Mets to go on some type of crazy, unfathomable streak, where they win 10 games in a row or more, and kind of get this, back to where we need to be. Because we are in a really weird spot. And I'm still, as a Met fan that's seen almost everything, I'm not panicked yet. Yet. But I am feeling like this is the same old Mets. Nothing can be worse than the Tommy Glavine days, and I'm not even going to talk about it. Met fans, I'm not going to share it again. Just, if there's somebody who's a young Met fan that doesn't really know what happened back then, Google it. Okay, I'm not bringing it up. That's bad juju right there. Got to leave that away. We don't need to be revisiting that. Stay away from us with all that negative juju action. But yeah. So That's kind of one of the things that I'm thinking. Like we just need to, stop pressing so much and kind of slow down. Maybe the games, in our minds, everything's racing. It's too fast because we are, and the pressure. Imagine the pressure of having guys on the payroll with this amount of money tied into them. So, these guys like Soto, are struggling. The one thing I will say that I've been saying is that Soto will be fine. Maybe this year is not the year that he'll be his best, but next year I expect Soto to be the Soto that we're used to. Just like the same thing what happened with Lindor when Lindor was struggling his first year here. Ever since Lindor's first year, has he not been fantastic? Even this year, all the struggles he goes through, the guy still has 22 home runs. He's going to get hot, and he can carry the team when he gets hot. I'm not worried about him. This is almost one of those things like from basketball standpoints, one of the things we talk about is how can we get all the players to play? Some of them have good games. How can we get all the players to play good at the same time? How can we get all of the Mets to continue to, to start, I didn't say continue, to start playing good at the same time? Like, what is it? What are we missing? Do we need rally caps? Do we, I don't know. What is it? Because this is like, you can't make this stuff up. So let me show you guys one more stat before we move on. And that is our bullpen. How exciting is this? Oh boy. Once again, info per StatMuse. The New York Mets have an ERA of 5.52 in their last 10 games. This is the relief squad. I should have put relief up there. This is the bullpen, the relief squad. So this ain't the starters. This is purely relief pitchers. Terrible. Terrible. What are we doing, y'all? What are we doing? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I don't know either, Darlene. I wish I knew. Jorge also says Holmes' first year as a starter, so he's tired. Montes, horrible signing. That's a fact. Manaea struggled on rehab and is still going through early season for his arm. That's probably true. Peterson has been great, but now that he's been relied on as main guy, it's probably mental. Kodai has just given too many first inning home runs. Yeah, Kodai just makes like a silly mistake here or there. He's been fantastic for the most part, and hopefully now his arm strength is starting to get back as far as being able to pitch deeper. I think yesterday's game was the most he's pitched since he came back from injury, which was about 90 or so pitches. So he's definitely getting stronger. But he does once in a blue make a bad pitch. It also could be because Kodai Senga's ball, when he throws it, his different pitches have a lot of movement, and sometimes it moves so much that he underestimates or overestimates the movement, and it winds up catching the middle of the plate, and it looks like a meatball. So I can get around Kodai giving up a home run and a bad home run in inopportune times here and there, as long as he pitches solid for the most part. But yeah, I agree with all the other stuff you said, Jorge. And the other thing too is Holmes. Holmes is another one that I'm quite frankly not sure if Holmes can be an adequate starter. I don't know if a starting pitcher can pitch through 3 rounds of the opposing team's hitters with 3 pitches. He throws 3 pitches. As a starter, I don't know if you can be that successful with 3 pitches. He's got a fastball, he's got a sinking fastball, and I think he's got a slider or some type of breaking pitch. I forgot what it is. I just find that hard to believe that, without a lot of variety, you can pitch multiple innings against these major league hitters and be successful. He has had success here and there, but I find it hard to believe he can sustain it. You know what I mean? He just doesn't seem like the makeup. And I know other guys that the Mets have had in the past, or even teams have had in the past, where they've had 3 pitches, and after a year they work on a 4th pitch, like, because they know the importance of having some variety. But I don't see that with Holmes. Holmes has had these 3 pitches for forever. So, yeah, I don't know. Jorge says McLean may fall victim to the Jacob deGrom treatment where the offense doesn't hit or the bullpen gives it up. He said, me for GM 2026. I always like you, Jorge. I always thought you could run the team, brother. Yes, Nolan McLean will be the starting pitcher tomorrow. Obviously, you guys, if you're Met fans, you know that he was called up, so he'll make his first start tomorrow. That's the reason why we saw Frankie Montas come out the bullpen, because he was demoted to the bullpen. And so Nolan McLean will be taking his spot for the interim for now, see how he does. Because the Mets are starving for, decent starting pitching. And if you could be a starting pitching and get through 6 or 7 innings, even better. Can we get through 6 innings? So we'll see. Shout out to my boy Randu in the building. What up, brother? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you as always. All right, that brings us to the third topic. This is not going to take too long to discuss. And that's, should Carlos Mendoza be given his walking papers? Should he be fired, y'all? What do y'all think? Y'all think Carlos Mendoza is the reason for all of this inconsistent play by the Mets? I would say when a baseball team plays bad on both sides of the plate or of the game, however you want to call it, the manager gets the axe. And I do know that the hitters have come alive. So recently the hitters are playing and it's now looking like it's just pitching. But, up until this point, they were both sides were struggling. So is that Mendoza's fault? Is he the reason? Do the Mets need to make a managerial change? I doubt. Not much is going to happen this year anyway. Even if they fire him, it's just going to be an interim. So how is that going to, make them catch fire? I don't know. I think for the most part, he's been a player's manager. I think the guys like him. I don't think he is one of those that, and I don't think there's anything going on outside of the Mets struggling to pitch adequately and hit in timely manners. But like I said, lately they've been hitting. But fundamentally, they haven't been making a lot of errors. They've been playing sound baseball. So that's why I say when I was talking about the Yankees and Aaron Boone, I could see Aaron Boone getting fired because they are struggling all over the place and they're making fundamental errors, like multiple guys making fundamental errors in the field. Like that's managing, that's coaching. So that's why I said that. And I would say the same thing if the Mets were going through the same thing. I would say that, that's enough for me to say Carlos Mendoza's got to be fired. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know if you fire him now, if it makes that big of a difference. Now, I will say in the offseason, if they do finish disappointing the way it's going right now, yeah, I might look to give other managers a call like, hey, love to talk to you, see if you're interested, and then we can make a decision from there. But right now, I don't know if it makes much of a difference to firing Mendoza. Damian Cox says they may need another GM. Interesting. Darlene Bryan says I don't think it's Carlos Mendoza. And Manny says 100%. Aaron Boone is not a manager; he is a cheerleader. Yeah, I hear you, brother. Shout out to HRM in the building. What's going on, HRM? So yeah, I don't know if firing Carlos Mendoza right now is the answer. There's some other stuff they need to work on. So I would kind of leave that alone, and hopefully they can worry about fixing all their other issues that they have, and stabilize this bullpen, man. Stabilize the bullpen, because it might be easier to stabilize the bullpen to fix than to fix what's going on with your starters. The starters is the issue. Wilson Dang, I believe you're trying to say you're not a Mets fan. I hear you, bro. I hear you, but I thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I got you. Yes, he says, I'm not a Mets fan, but their starting pitching needs help. Yes, it does. It definitely does. All right. So That's the Mendoza line. Oh, see what I did there? Thank you. I'm here all night. Damien says, what do you think that the Mets baseball team should do to make themselves more relevant in the future? Well, I think at some point, you know what I've noticed? And shout out to going back to what Jorge's been saying. The Mets have worried so much. If you look at what they've done in the past few years, they have worried so much about bringing big name, high priced hitters into the fold. And I think they have allowed the pitching to go by the wayside. They were fortunate and lucky enough to get Kodai Senga. But if you just look at who they've got pitching wise, no, like I said, I have no issue with bringing Sean Manaea back. I think a lot of Mets fans were happy with him coming back. And by the time we got him back, we needed him because we lost out on other guys that the Mets tried to get. Like they've struck out on a lot of pitchers out there. You know, they've lost out on the opportunity to get a lot of pitchers. Pitchers have gone to San Francisco. They've gone to San Diego. They've gone to LA, the Dodgers. And so the Mets have kind of been one of those teams that lost out on getting these guys. And I think going forward, the Mets have to prioritize starting pitching once again, the way they have done in the past. I think they've done enough to help the hitting, right? They've built up the farm system. They're in a position to even trade away bats because they have a pretty solid bunch of guys that are hitting down there. They may not be ready yet, but they've got some stuff that can carry them throughout future years. They may need to go out there in the offseason and bring in another bat or two to replace some of the stuff that's going on right now. Brett Beatty is a little bit of a question mark as far as his consistency. Even though I like the kid, his consistency is questionable. Luis Angel Acuna is still someone that hasn't necessarily found himself as a Met. I'm hoping for the best for him as well. We'll see. Ronnie Mauricio, I'm not going to make a big deal about Mauricio because this is Mauricio's first real opportunity to be a hitter on the Mets. And so I give him a chance to struggle as he finds himself. He gets a little bit of a pass because he's been hurt. So I give him a little bit of more leeway. Man, I don't know what to say about our third baseman, Vientos. Vientos is tough because I could see him getting traded because maybe he doesn't fit the future. But then again, when Vientos gets hot, I mean, what he did last year really helped carry the team. And he looked like he was starting to wake up recently. I don't know about Vientos, man. Outside of all of these guys, the only person that I could see the Mets moving on from is Brett Beatty. I know some people may hate that, but he's the only guy that I know is really inconsistent. Like other guys, I just think they need a little bit more time to find themselves before I can say they're inconsistent. For Brett Beatty, every time he comes up, now this is the best he's been, which is not saying that much. But every time he comes up to the major leagues, he struggles. He goes back down, he rakes. He comes back up, he struggles. He goes back down, he rakes. He comes back up, he struggles. He goes back down, he rakes. He comes back up, he struggles. Like this has been happening forever. Now is the longest he's kind of been up here, and he's been struggling. But then he has moments where he shows you flashes, but he's just been terribly inconsistent. So I don't know. Well, we'll see. And then lastly, yeah, I know, Wilson. Once upon a time, they always had great starting pitching, but yeah, they prioritized hitting because they do want to catch up and be like other teams in baseball that have both, and so they felt like they were putting all their chips into pitching so much that they were not, doing as much to get these big time hitters. I think they've done enough to get big time hitters. Lindor is fantastic. Soto will be great again. Pete Alonso has been fantastic for the most part, but he's dangerous because we might lose him. Who knows? That's the reason why. And you see, David Stearns is in Japan looking at that other hitter who could be a replacement for Pete Alonso if Alonso leaves, which you have to do that. But they really need to get some pitchers in here. And I don't want to rush the kids yet. Unless if they're ready, they're ready. But I don't want to rush them. But I definitely do think the smart thing was to bring up Nolan McLean for tomorrow. I mean, we need one of these guys, and he's been pitching good, so why not? All right. Is Juan Soto 26? I don't know if he's 26 years old, and I don't care if he's not 26 years old. What does that matter? All I care about is that he goes out there and hits. This is the reason why I can't stand Brandon Tierney. Some people may like him, but he is the Stephen A. Smith of SNY for me. And you guys know that I can't stand Stephen Hater A. Smith. So I don't know what's wrong with Brandon Tierney. I don't know why him and his co-patriot over there get on and say all types of stupid stuff. I can't stand either one of them. I used to like him when I was younger. I can't stand either one of them. They say a whole bunch of garbage. It's trash. It's sensationalized just to get people talking about something. I don't get it. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if he's 26, if he's 27, if he's 28. I don't care. We got him for a 15-year contract out after 5 or 6. It is what it is. I really don't care. All I know is he's one of the best hitters in baseball. Even in a bad season, which this is a bad season for Juan Soto. He's got 30 home runs, and he's still doing stuff that certain people can't do. I get it. People are disappointed that even though he is hitting, he has 30 home runs. A lot of the home runs don't come at clutch moments. We need to see more clutch moments from our high-priced player. I get it. He does hit a lot of home runs with people that, solo shots with nobody on base at times where it doesn't matter. Either the Mets are losing big or they're up big. I get it. We need more clutch from him. But has Juan Soto ever showed you in his career that he's not clutch? When he was with the Nationals and they won a championship, was he not clutch? When he was with the Yankees last year, was he not clutch? All those big hits he had for them? I mean, the Yankees had so much success because of him. And obviously Judge. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not questioning if he's clutch or not. He's having a bad year. Lindor had a bad year. Everybody got on him, and he was high priced with his $300 million contract. They were saying a bunch of stuff about him. And ever since then, he's been fantastic. So can we give Juan Soto his moment? It's not like Juan Soto is batting .230 with like 15 home runs and 50 RBIs. Just want to put that out there. Can we give the guy time? The only thing I will say is that Juan Soto needs to shut up. I agree with that. If anybody says that, he needs to shut up and play baseball. I don't need to hear him bragging. I don't need him to be cocky out there. Don't talk about you being the best baseball player ever, all that stupid stuff. Just go out there and play baseball. That's all you need to do. Juan Soto is batting .252 with 30 home runs, 70 RBIs. It's a down season, and that's a down season. For some people, that's a great season, but not for Juan Soto, obviously. So, and we've still got maybe almost 2 months left of baseball. Almost. Could we just let's let it play out and see what the season becomes, and understand that next year will be a much better season than this year. Historically, that's always been the case. Juan Soto had a bad season with Washington Nationals too. He bounced back and had great seasons, but he had great seasons before that year. He had great seasons after that year. It's just coincidence that he went to the Yankees for one season, and it was actually a really good season. It can happen. Not everywhere he goes, the first year is going to be a bad year. It just so happens he came to the Mets, and it's a new field, new expectations. He's the man with one of the richest contracts in baseball. There's some pressure attached to it, no matter how confident you are. All the eyes are on you, and he's getting booed. There's stuff there. So just want to put that out there, guys. I know. 19 comment. I know. This is me, baby. You see it? I've been a Met fan for Lizzo, baby. Back in the day when we had Anthony Young and he lost 21 games. I was there for that. I lived through that. Okay? Nobody knows the heartache that I feel inside. The Anthony Young days, when you could talk about Anthony Young and know what it means and what it feels like, you get me. You get me. It's like when I talk about Clee Anthony early and stuff for the Knicks. You guys, you get me. Shout out to JM3 in the building. Salute, my brother. Appreciate you. Anyway, guys, listen. I don't want to, go too long. I just want to talk about the Mets for a little bit and get this out the way. Obviously, tomorrow at 11:30, Know the Ledge. We're going to get back into our Knick talk. The schedule did drop, and we're going to talk about different games, different matchups that are happening that we're looking forward to, and then we'll see. We'll see what it is. The schedule is not an easy one for the Knicks. The Knicks have a lot going on. Okay, they have an easy time in part of the schedule, but once we get into the February days and stuff, it's gonna get crazy, as usual. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. Shout out to everybody who's watching on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook. Appreciate you guys. Definitely Replay Gang. You know what? Please check it out. Look forward to it. Once again, man, I want to thank you guys for everything. And bottom line is, this is a weird situation. I just want our Mets to play better. You know what I mean? I just want to see good baseball. I still want to try to make it to a Met game before the summer is out, because I don't want to go when it gets all cold. The worst feeling I have ever is going to a game early and it's nice and hot, and then by the time the game is over, I'm freezing. I hate those. So I definitely want to go. Yeah, I hear you, Cardiac Knicks. I know they all do that. Who knows how old he really is? I don't know. I don't really care. I just want him to go out there and play baseball. And even if, let's just say he's not 26, let's say he's 29 or 30. If the Mets have an out in 5 or 6 years, I'm good. By the time he's 35 or 36, we can get him up out of here, because guys in baseball that are 35 years old, 36 years old can still play at a high level. Baseball's a little different. As long as your eyes work, you still have the good coordination, you can still be a contributor. The home runs will be less probably, but he can hit around 15 to 20 home runs, but the batting average could go up. So we'll see. Anyway, once again, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in and supporting the show. Please smash that like button if you enjoy the content. Subscribe if you like what you've seen. We definitely love to have you here. And as I always say, man, listen, be good. But if you can't be good at it. You know what I mean? Listen, and right now the Mets are not good at it. They're not good at anything. Well, I mean, they hit pretty well the last 2 days. Let me give them credit for that. Shout out to them for hitting well these last couple days. But yeah, other than that, that's all I can give them. Anyway, y'all have a great rest of your evening. Take care. I'll catch y'all in the AM 11:30. Know the Ledge. Let's talk about these Knicks. We out of here, baby. Peace.